welcome to the Presidential Installation Ceremony honoring Kevin C. Weinman as the 5th President of Marist College. I am Rhiannon Moline, member of the class of 2025. I will now introduce the order of the academic procession. First in order is the Grand Marshal Joseph Kirtland, Professor of Mathematics. Next in the procession is the Marist Army ROTC Color Guard, led by Cadet Owen Riley, member of the class of 2024. The Color Guard is followed by Student Marshal Clennell Lee, member of the class of 2023, and Faculty Marshals Kavus Ardalan, Professor of Finance, and Helen Rothberg, Professor of Management, Business Policy, and Strategy. These marshals lead 52 delegates from colleges and universities around the country. The delegates process according to the order of their institution's founding years. A list of delegates can be found in your program. Immediately following the delegates from other colleges and universities are Student Marshal Sarah O'Keefe, member of the class of 2023, and Faculty Marshals Gregory Mahacek, Professor of English, and Yvette Romero, Professor of Modern Languages. These marshals lead members of the Marist College faculty. The faculty are followed in the procession by the academic deans and other members of the President's cabinet. Next in the procession comes Student Marshal Caleb Davis, member of the class of 2024, who leads the platform party, comprised of the Marist College Board of Trustees, members of the Weinman family, and honored guests. The platform party also includes the chair of the faculty, Nicholas Marshall, Associate Professor of History. He carries the Marist College mace, an age-old symbol of authority rooted in Roman and medieval history. A staff made of wood and metal, the Marist College mace supports a three-sided crown, which carries the seal of the college. Its design represents three values: excellence in education, a sense of community, and a commitment to service. Following the chair of the faculty is Dennis J. Murray, President Emeritus and Professor of Public Policy. Dr. Murray carries the Marist College Medallion, or Medal of Office. Dr. Murray is followed by the chair of the Marist College Board of Trustees and member of the class of 1980, Ross A. Mauri, who is followed by President Kevin Weinman. Thank you for your attention. Please rise for the presentation of the colors by the Marist Army ROTC, followed by our national anthem, which will be sung by members of the Marist College Singers. Please remain standing for the invocation, which will be offered by Brother John Klein.
Please join me in prayer. Good and gracious God, As we gather this afternoon here on the banks of the beautiful Hudson River, we acknowledge your holy presence and give thanks for the many blessings you have bestowed on each of us and upon Marist College for nearly 100 years. The Marist brothers who first came to this place in 1905 had limited resources, but unlimited vision and hope. They were determined to translate St. Marcelin Champagnat's Marist dream of making a significant difference in the lives of young people into reality. Help us to continue to affirm that heritage and the virtues upon which this institution was founded: mercy, compassion, open-mindedness, zeal, selfless service, love for the poor and the disadvantaged. We know, Lord, that every new beginning brings with it a moment of hope. And so today, we hope and ask for your blessing upon President Weinman and his leadership team. Please give them your wisdom, strength, and courage, always to serve this college with truth, integrity, and clarity of vision. We ask you to bless the Marist Board of Trustees, the faculty, staff, and especially the Marist students, as together we strive to build a campus rooted in faith and committed to diversity and acceptance where all will find a home. Finally, Lord, we ask you to bless us and those we love. We offer our prayer together with all the holy names of God, as together we say, Amen.
Please be seated. Please welcome Ross A. Mauri, Chair of the Marist College Board of Trustees.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Distinguished delegates, fellow trustees, esteemed faculty, students, staff, alumni, and honored guests. It is my privilege to welcome you to the installation of Kevin C. Weinman as president of Marist College. While I'm here speaking to you today in my role as chair of the Board of Trustees, I wear a number of other hats. I am also an alum of the college, a parent of a proud Marist graduate, as well as the chair of the 22-member Presidential Search Committee that unanimously recommended that the board appoint Kevin Weinman to the presidency. In reflecting back upon the search process for a moment, I'll note that the list of priorities and key success factors our committee initially developed, in a word, were ambitious. I went back and counted There were no fewer than 30 items on our must-have list. Now, I will admit that I was skeptical about our ability to identify an individual who demonstrated all of these qualities and characteristics. Brother John, I couldn't help but notice in your invocation just now, you listed some of the values upon which the college was founded. I heard you cite compassion, open-mindedness, zeal, selfless service, and a dedication to those who have not enjoyed the same forms of privilege and access. Those traits sound familiar. I think you might have negotiated those into our search committee must-have list. But those traits will also sound familiar to anyone that has ever known or worked with Kevin Weinman, as he embodies the best of our Marist traditions and values. Allow me to offer one small sample. Shortly after Kevin arrived at Marist, he and his wife Beth announced a substantial pledge, establishing the Presidential Fund for Equity in the Marist Experience. The fund will allow talented students with financial need to access the same range of academic experiences as their classmates. When Kevin told me about his family's support for our students, the ways in which his fund would enable Marist students to participate in internships and study abroad experiences, and to access tutoring services that may otherwise have remained out of reach, I thought to myself, this is a remarkable commitment and a true demonstration of what we mean when we talk about living our values. In making their pledge, Kevin and Beth said, with the collective support of its community, Marist can achieve great things and become the very best institution of higher education that it can be. The collective support of its community. Kevin, you already know that my wife Barbara and I were so moved by your commitment that we made a matching gift of our own. But I'm especially pleased to announce here today, on the occasion of your installation, that every member of our 30-member Board of Trustees has made a personal contribution to the Presidential Fund for Equity in the Marist Experience in your honor. I hope you receive this as a demonstration of the collective support of the board for your vision, your ambition, and your leadership. I hope others in our community will be similarly inspired to support our students. The Board of Trustees congratulates you, and we look forward to the important work we will undertake together. Thank you.
Please welcome 3 representatives to the Board of Trustees who will now offer greetings to President Kevin Weinman. On behalf of the faculty, Associate Professor of History and Chair of the Faculty, Nicholas Marshall. On behalf of the alumni, President of the Alumni Association and member of the class of 1982, Eileen Gilfedder Altobelli. And on behalf of the students, Student Body President and member of the class of 2023, Gabriel Borbon.
The faculty offer warm greetings to President Weinman. We look forward to a continued productive and collegial relationship as Marist moves into the future. That's really all I have to say. I could save us some time and immediately go sit back down and revel in holding the ceremonial mace, right? This medieval weapon that I got to wield for some reason today. I'm still a bit unclear on exactly what I'm supposed to use it for or who I'm supposed to use it on. Some of my faculty colleagues may agree, perhaps on students who neglect to proofread their papers. Maybe the plague of groundhogs that we see all around campus. Patriots fans? All right, now, For those of you from New England, and I know there's some folks here on the stage, I apologize, but you have to know your audience at some point. Okay, we do know that the mace was originally intended to protect the new office holder from resistance among the masses. So along those lines, have no fear, Kevin. I'm ready to handle any student who's deeply troubled by the state of the pizza in the dining hall. By the way, I have my eye out for you, Andrew Breen. He was in my class last semester and said he was traumatized by the pepperoni that he received. So, Andrew, I've got the mace. Okay, but I'm not going to sit down, right? When did any academic pass up the chance to provide context and some apt quotations? Okay, the other day, doing some light reading, I was going through Frederick Douglass's 1876 speech that memorialized Abraham Lincoln at the dedication ceremony of the Freedmen's Monument in Washington, D.C. And I was struck by two especially apt comments on leadership. Now, little side note, the original draft of this speech said I was struck by 16 especially apt comments. And my wife read this over and she said in so many words, "Are you an idiot?" Edit. Okay, so it's only two. The first of these comments on leadership appeared when Douglass spoke of Lincoln's personal qualities, and I think these apply directly to the position of a college president. Douglass said of Lincoln, quote, "Though high in position, the humblest could approach him and feel at home in his presence. Though deep, he was transparent. Though strong, he was gentle. Though decided and pronounced in his convictions, he was tolerant towards those who differed from him and patient under reproaches." Those of us who have gotten to know Kevin this past year may see some of these same characteristics in him, all to the good. Okay, the second of Douglass's leadership insights emphasizes the importance of taking the long view of accomplishment rather than focus on short-term gains. He also recognizes the necessity of political acumen in achieving these goals. This is something I think is especially important for you, President Weinman, to keep in mind when setbacks occur. During the Civil War, Douglass was frustrated by Lincoln's blinders regarding questions of equality and the slow movement toward emancipation. And in that 1876 speech, he pointedly noted the criticism that Lincoln received from the more radical Republicans of the day, like Douglass himself, who wanted immediate action. So Douglass said, quote, "Viewed from the genuine abolition ground, Mr. Lincoln seemed tardy, cold, dull, and indifferent," end quote. Okay, I just have to say that kind of applies to many of our 8 a.m. sections on Wednesday. Tardy, cold, dull, and indifferent, perhaps? Okay, viewed from the genuine abolition ground, Mr. Lincoln seemed tardy, cold, dull, and indifferent. But then, in recognition of the importance of actually completing a task in a complicated real-world circumstance, Douglass added, but measuring him, quote, "but measuring him by the sentiment of his country, a sentiment he was bound as a statesman to consult, he was swift, zealous, radical, and determined." Okay, now by quoting Douglass on Lincoln, I'm not suggesting that Marist College is entering upon a civil war with the faculty in Fontaine, I see some of you over here, about to secede from the college over perceived conspiracies against them, or that President Weinman should be directly compared to Abraham Lincoln, though perhaps we should give him an axe and see how he does splitting rails. But I do think Douglass's overarching practical vision offers useful context. Yes, President Weinman, there will be bumps along the way, yet working with an open mind and heart and keeping the eyes on the larger prize, remarkable progress is indeed possible. Welcome.
Today's ceremony is the official start of Kevin's tenure as the 5th president of the college. Yet in less than 3 weeks, he will celebrate his 1-year anniversary as the leader of this wonderful institution. Over the course of the past 11 months, he has worked tirelessly to learn about Marist, our culture, the heritage, and the guiding principles handed down by the Marist brothers. He has engaged with and listened to the priorities of the different constituent groups that make up the entirety of the Marist community. And at the same time, he has begun to construct a framework which will lead Marist successfully into the future. On behalf of the Marist Alumni Association, I extend the warmest of welcomes to Kevin and his family, his wife Beth, his son Alex, and his daughter Brooke. Kevin, even before you stepped onto the campus, it was apparent that you would be focused on student success and working to ensure that every student has the opportunity to experience all that Marist has to offer. And it was also clear to me, as a proud graduate of the class of '82, that you recognize the role alumni can play in supporting you as you build a roadmap for the future direction of the college. You have traveled east and west, north and south, to meet with alumni of all ages, to listen to their Marist experiences and hear what it was like 5, 10, 40, 60 years ago to be a student here in Poughkeepsie. You have been briefed on the cherished traditions of the college, and you have discovered why we love this place and why we are excited about the opportunities your leadership will create for the long term. Yes, Marist does prepare its graduates for success by providing an excellent education. Red Foxes leave the Hudson Valley and Florence, Italy, with the skills, experiences, and confidence to achieve great things in their post-grad lives. We attract a diverse student body, geographically, socioeconomically, and ethnically, from within the U.S. and across the globe, which creates a unique opportunity for a shared sense of community and belonging. However, an excellent education is not solely what makes Marist Marist. We are not a large school. With about 6,000 current students and 49,000 alum, we are solidly a mid-sized institution. Yet the loyalty and fondness that Red Fox grads have for the college belie our size and our numbers. It's common these days for colleges and universities to promote lifelong learning programs, Marist included. Yet as importantly, Marist creates an environment where lifelong friendships with classmates, faculty, staff begin and then continue to grow and deepen as the years goes on. And these relationships enrich our lives and experiences. Having an appreciation and understanding from where the college has come is important as you tackle the opportunities and challenges that lie ahead. And we know we cannot remain so tied to the past that we impede moving into the future. Kevin, the Marist alumni community is excited about your leadership, and we look forward to assisting you accomplish both the essential and aspirational goals you have begun to set forth. And with your experience, your enthusiasm, your financial expertise, the team you have put together, and your desire to see that every Marist student succeed, the college is well positioned to reach its full potential. Welcome.
Good afternoon. A few weeks ago, I was asked to participate in this inauguration and speak on behalf of the student body. Coincidentally, this lines up with my role on campus. So let me just say it's been an honor to be here and share my thoughts with you. A year ago, the former student body president, Tenzin Sundu, and I were talking about what it'd be like to have a new college president. He told me that the search for Marist's new president was coming to a close, and believe me when I say he was very excited about the choice. Once Kevin Weinman's name was publicly announced, Tenzin Sundu was singing his praises. This was exciting, but hearing about Dr. Weinman and meeting him were two very different things. So let me describe to you the sequence of events and the feeling of the students after Dr. Weinman's first few days on campus. Dr. Weinman's first meeting on his very first day was with the student government. That fact alone should tell you a lot about how much he values the students at Marist. I specifically remember this meeting because more than half of the assembly was starstruck. It felt like we were all in the presence of a rock star. But the best feeling we took away from this meeting was the sense that Dr. Weinman truly wanted to help the students in any way that he could, and he intently listened to every one of our concerns. During Dr. Weinman's first few days on campus, he had already begun to make his presence known. From my perspective, what probably had the biggest impact was when he started holding student office hours. This really showed students that he was interested in learning about Marist culture and listening to students' experiences and concerns, which we all know are very unique and can differ depending on the student. In addition to student government, other students around campus also seemed excited about the new president on campus. I think what was remarkable was that within the first few weeks, the common feeling among the students was that this is the guy, the dude, if you will. Dr. Weinman had become so involved on campus, he had earned a new nickname among the students, going from President Weinman to K-Dubs. A great example of why the students were comfortable with giving him a nickname is Move-In Day 2022. To give you some perspective, this year's Move-In Day was hot. Now, I don't mean that it was a little bit warm. I mean that it felt like New York was on an island in the equator, kind of hot. During the day, my vice president and I were walking around campus and talking to as many parents as we could for a couple of hours. But eventually, because of the heat, we had to take a break and to drink some water. While running around, however, we ran into Dr. Weinman, and lo and behold, he had been doing the exact same thing we were doing. Except that he'd been walking around for even longer than we had, he talked to more people than we did, and most importantly, he was helping parents feel at ease that they were leaving their children in the right place. Just from these stories alone, I'm sure you can infer that Dr. Weinman is a genuine and approachable individual who has immersed himself fully in campus life. In one short year, he has shown that he is dedicated to helping students develop the intellect, character, and skills required for enlightened, ethical, and productive lives. Dr. Weinman has done a great job making all students feel at home at Marist, and we hope that our welcome has done the same for him. After getting to know Dr. Weinman over the past year, I've come to the solid conclusion that he truly cares about the Marist students and the entire Marist community. I think that the entire campus can rest assured that the future of Marist College is bright and that there are even better days to come. But don't just take it from me. Some of our students recently produced a video for a series called Word on the River. In it, they share their own perspectives of Dr. Weinman and even offer him some words of advice. We'd like to play that video for you now. So thank you everyone for your time, and as always, go Red Foxes.
What's up, Red Foxes? It's your host, Joe, and I'm back here for a very special edition of Word on the River. On today's episode, we're going to go around campus and ask students how they feel about President Weinman's upcoming inauguration. Let's go. With President Weinman's, upcoming inauguration, what is one thing that excites you the most about Marist's future?
I think one thing that's very exciting, I'm just very excited about how he's just going to transform this community. Like, he seems like a very inclusive and very insightful president, so I'm very excited for what he has in plan for the near future.
Well, I'd say to President Weinman that he should definitely continue his involvement with the arts here at Marist.
The new Dyson building.
Dyson is getting rebuilt.
What is one piece of advice you'd like to give President Weinman as he finally becomes inaugurated?
A piece of advice that I'd like to give President Weinman is that Marist is a very welcoming community, and I know that he's going to try his best to make it a more welcoming place for everybody else.
Be as involved as possible in different disciplines, different extracurricular organizations, and just students will love to see your presence at different things, so just keep that up.
So as a student assistant in the missions office, I think something that excites me about Marist's future is definitely working closely with President Weinman in the missions office.
Great. For the future of Marist.
He has great energy, it seems like, so just to keep that up.
Keep up that energy, President Weinman. What is a food that you'd recommend to President Weinman on campus?
I personally love the steel plant.
Fox and Locks.
I would definitely recommend the shrimp tempura roll.
Definitely Donnelly Cafe, always get the buffalo chicken sub.
You put the chicken patty from the North End chicken sandwich on the North End grilled cheese.
That is a fantastic idea. Oh my God. That is insane. I have to go try that right now. All right, President Weinman, it's so great to have you here.
Thanks, Joe. Great to be here. Sandwich mashup.
It is a sandwich mashup indeed.
This is a thing.
Yes, this is a thing from many a student.
All right.
And we're gonna try it. All right, so let's dive in. All right, ready? There's definitely chicken in it. Cheers. Clink.
That is everything I imagined it would be.
There you have it, folks. All right, well, that's a wrap on today's episode. I think I speak for everyone when we are all so excited for this upcoming inauguration, and everyone on campus is really excited for the future. This is Joe.
This is President Weinman.
Signing off.
Nobody recommended pizza, by the way.
Please welcome members of the Marist College Singers as they perform Untraveled Worlds by Paul Halley. Please welcome Alvin Patrick, member of the class of 1986 and member of the Board of Trustees, who will introduce the inaugural speaker.
Good afternoon, everybody. As they just said, my name is Alvin Patrick. I'm a proud Marist alum, class of 1986, the great class of 1986. I'm also humbled to serve as a trustee of the college. I am honored today to introduce today's speaker, Dr. Carolyn Biddy Martin. I was pleased to serve on the presidential search committee that brought Kevin Weinman from his role as Chief Financial and Administrative Officer at Marist College to Marist. And I have a little story about that. I'm a journalist by trade, and a good portion of my career has been in sports. And there's a term in sports when we talk of finding good leadership, we always consider a candidate's coaching tree. Now, the coaching tree is kind of like a family tree. So for example, the preeminent Duke coach Mike Krzyzewski learned from Hall of Fame coach Bob Knight, who he played for at West Point. And the exceptional Patriots coach Bill Belichick learned from Hall of Fame coach Bill Parcells, who he coached under with the New York Giants. The basic idea is that great leaders produce great leaders. So when I saw that Kevin had a key role at Amherst, working with the great Biddy Martin, I knew he had the right coaching tree and that Marist had the right leader to move us forward. Now, when I asked Biddy Martin how she would describe her leadership style, she said, you know, I kind of consider myself a coach, and teamwork is one of my greatest joys and achievements. Well, let me tell you, she's a great coach indeed, a legend in the academic world. Her list of accomplishments are long. Former provost at Cornell, the first alumna to become chancellor at the University of Wisconsin, and her 11-year tenure as president of Amherst was the longest at the college in almost 50 years. She was the first woman to lead Amherst. She helped build a nearly $4 billion endowment. Yes, I said 4 billion with a B. And she remade the eastern part of the Amherst campus. But she says she's most proud of hiring talented people like Kevin Weinman, working as a team to get through the COVID pandemic, diversifying the student body, and creating an environment in which all students feel that Amherst is their place. These are goals that every college and university, including Marist, strive to achieve. Now, I would leave it there, except I have to say that on top of all the accomplishments I just mentioned about Biddy, I would be remiss if I did not note that as a 5'5" point guard and forward, Biddy was also a record-leading scorer of her high school basketball team. Need I say more? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome today's speaker, Coach Dr. Carolyn Biddy Martin.
Good afternoon. Excuse me while I search for my remarks. Alvin Patrick, thank you for that too kind introduction. I am glad that my basketball prowess has finally been recognized. That means a lot to me, and my two brothers, high school football coaches, both of whom died too early, would be very proud that you chose that emphasis. So thank you. Thanks to the entire Marist community, the staff, the faculty, the students, the trustees, everyone who took part in creating such wonderful events. What musical talent you have at Marist College. What incredible tour guides. We came yesterday from various parts of the country, but we came together in a reunion of the entire senior staff who worked with Kevin when he was at Amherst. We're all here. And we were given a tour by Grace. It was for her like herding cats. I don't think she would admit it. But we were so glad to see Kevin and to see one another that we had a hard time following her backward movements. But what I want to say to you is how extraordinarily beautiful the siting of this college is on the river, how incredible the campus facilities, how amazingly well they've been maintained. I'm not sure I've ever seen anything like it. And when these various magazines rank the country's most beautiful campuses, I'm not sure why Marist doesn't show up always in #1. Since my retirement from Marist College at the end of July, I've been reflecting on the different institutions that I've served. And I do this out of annoyance about ranking systems and the fact that they tend to think and make it seem as though higher education can be generalized, that it's just one set of homogeneous institutions they can rank. This annoys me. I have loved every institution that I studied at and that I've served. Cornell with its devotion to any person, any study. UW-Madison, where until recently the strongest commitment to academic freedom was memorialized in a famous plaque that celebrated the fearless sifting and winnowing through which alone the truth can be sought. I loved Amherst, its founding vision, its commitment to indigent young men of piety, very similar to the beginnings of Marist College. What a distinctive jewel of a college Marist is. Its built environment is not only beautiful, but it seems planned to highlight the river and its surrounds. Sited here so that the college could be and remain engaged with the cultural riches, the natural beauty, the businesses, and the industries of the Hudson Valley, even as they all change over time. Marist has long done a lot of things that a lot of colleges are now rushing to do. Promoted and fostered connections across boundaries, taken an international perspective at its origins, fostered a residential study opportunity abroad, one of its own at the heart of Florence, Italy. And I noted with interest that your new president hadn't been here a year before he decided he needed to visit that one. For all of the connections that Marist makes, really unusual connections, in order to create pathways to careers for its students, I admire the fact that you have continued to make the liberal arts a required core for your students, celebrating curiosity-driven learning, joining it to forms of learning that many view as outside the bounds of the liberal arts. But you have made the connections and brought to your students the facilities that allow them to explore opportunities much earlier than students at many other places. The only thing I can say about Marist that I could hold against you is that you red foxes stole my friend, my colleague, my close advisor, and my chief financial and administrative officer from Amherst. I still remember how I felt when Kevin first told me he was a finalist for the Marist presidency. I've studied the place very carefully, he said, and I really like what I see. I think it would be a good fit. And I'm really interested, he said, in your advice and your thinking. I remember thinking, really? Now, I knew at the end of that call that if Marist offered Kevin the presidency, he would take it. I know that he still felt that he would need to think a lot about it and that it would be a hard decision. And I had challenged myself to keep Kevin when other suitors had come searching for him in the past. But this time it felt different just from the conversation, just from his tone. And you have gotten a gift. You chose a wonderful human being and an incredible talent. Before Kevin was hired at Amherst, I had never worked with a chief financial officer of his quality, someone who came with his combination of broad interests and forms of expertise, someone who was so evidently humble and such a wonderful human being. His forms of expertise are so wide-ranging, certainly in finance, in computation and data-driven analysis, but he combines those with an appreciation of the imaginative arts and the rigorous reading and analytic methods of the humanities. And that is what students and the rest of the world need, all of that. His creativity and the creativity of the team he built in budget and finance allowed us, during his time there, to complete a new science center, 4 new residence halls, a new event space for students, a redesign of the eastern part of our campus. We increased the size of the faculty. We increased funding for lower income students. We increased the diversity so that Amherst is now a majority minority student body. And we made it through COVID. We made it through COVID in part because I asked Kevin and he agreed to lead the 2 committees charged with developing health policy and developing proposals for the implementation of those policies. Kevin is a great writer and an editor. I don't think I wrote a single statement or a response to a crisis that I didn't run by him for his comments. Not just the usual kind of editing, but because Kevin would be able to figure out whether I had missed the mark, including missing what he knew probably was my own mark. Early on, our advancement staff, our trustees and I realized that Kevin would be invaluable to our fundraising efforts. Why? Because of his broad interests and because he can talk about budgets and financial models with incredible knowledge and precision, but he connects them all to the core priorities of higher education. And he does so in a way that builds trust and excitement among alumni and donors. In addition to all of his other qualities, you will see that Kevin's steadiness and his positive outlook make him an ideal person to lead. Now, some of you, but probably not all of you, know that Kevin completed his Ph.D. in history while serving as Chief Financial Officer and Chief Administrative Officer, doing all the things that I just listed. This will never cease to amaze me. At one point early in his tenure, he told me he might need some leave time in order to finish the dissertation, a major study of the history and consequences of the city of Denver's unplanned growth. I don't think he ever even took time off. If he did, it was not noticeable. but he completed and defended his dissertation. And in true Kevin fashion, he did all that and even went to receive his Ph.D. degree without enough fanfare for us to even know exactly when it was happening. That is his humility. I think I surprised him when I asked for a copy of the dissertation, and I shocked him when I read it. The reading is quintessential Kevin, clear, informative, critical in the best sense, analytically sharp, probing, maybe with a hint of regret at the consequences of unplanned growth, and not only in Denver, but aimed always at documenting, explaining, and understanding. That Kevin would become a college president seemed inevitable to me, as unusual as the path is, and that you saw the light is a testament to you as a college and a college leadership. How good that Kevin and his family, that he and Beth in particular, will be in such a beautiful spot at such a gorgeous college. They are very outdoorsy. They bike, they hike, they climb, they race, they enter marathons and half marathons, competitions, the names of which I'm sorry I don't really know, but you could ask Kevin. They play hockey, Brooke and Alex. I've learned that Alex, at least, has become a fly fisherman. I consider that a very appropriate application of his English and philosophy majors. Summer before last, I discovered that Kevin might not be the outdoorsman I thought he was. He told me he was going to be camping out on a weekend by himself around his birthday. I was shopping at EMS and decided to buy him some protein bars. Why? I don't know. I just thought I would. And I imagined Kevin out in the woods. I knew it was going to pour rain that weekend because I have a strange habit of looking at the weather. I don't know why, not necessarily from my own location, but just looking. And I imagined Kevin out there in the torrents of rain, withstanding it all. It was some time later, and maybe from Beth, that I learned he had come home immediately when it started to rain. And he seemed to get a bigger kick out of that than I did, actually. Kevin knows a lot about a lot of things, so be careful. He knows a lot about craft beer, and it made him and David Hamilton, our chief information officer, very happy that he was moving to the Hudson Valley. I don't know anything about craft beer. I grew up in a family that drank Pabst Blue Ribbon out of salted aluminum cans. I had no idea what it meant. And in my ignorance, I told him I knew of a great beer that he would love. And our mutual friend Lisa Rutherford brought it to me from Wisconsin, the only place where you can buy it. It's called Spotted Cow, for the obvious reason. I saved it for Kevin, and I brought it out to him at a senior staff dinner. I waited for him to take a sip and exclaim how good it was. He said nothing. I got nothing. Finally, I looked at him and I said, "What do you think, Kevin?" Candid Kevin responded by saying, "It's okay." I knew this was Kevin saying, "You gotta be kidding me, Biddy." The best evidence for his humor and the humor that his family exhibits is their holiday letter. The only holiday letter at which I have laughed throughout, ever. Kevin is truly a connector of fields, professions, opportunities, and people. What we see here today is evidence of that there are so many people here from various parts of his life, so many alone from Amherst, not only his colleagues, but also trustees. That there are so many chief financial officers from so many different colleges and universities who are here to celebrate him. That there are so many friends, rowdy ones, he tells me, who are here from various parts of his life, from his college days and beyond. This wonderful person, Kevin Weinman, is now president of a college that values its connections to the things he values, the land on which it was built, the history of which it is part, the arts, the music, the food, the beer, the business communities beyond its campus. This is a difficult time for higher education because it is a difficult time for the country, divided as we are, plagued by doubt and suspicion of one another, long isolated from one another by COVID, and lacking faith in our democratic institutions, including our educational institutions. The ravages of the threats that COVID posed and the losses it created, along with the threats to democracy, occupy us all, I'm sure, and it will take a long time to understand the effects as well as the causes of that lack of trust. COVID taught us that it was possible to innovate remarkably with online learning. COVID also taught us how much we need each other, how much our physical presence to one another matters, how much social and emotional as well as academic learning can be lost when we're isolated and alone. We have a lot of work to do, all of us, to make up for those losses, including the losses of so many human beings over the past several years. That makes celebrations like today all the more important. It reminds us, among other things, that colleges bring people together. They give us a sense of shared purpose across generations and across institutions when we're not worrying about the rankings. The writer Marilyn Robinson has argued that college and university alumni communities are among the only such communities left in the country, and I think she's right. She says about college and university communities that they're one of the few such communities where people 5 to 6 decades out from their graduation treat current students as though they were kin and heirs. And that is true. And at Amherst, it's not only the alumni who treat current students as kin and heirs, it's also those people who may not have graduated from Marist, but who recognize how valuable it is. I feel fortunate to have been asked to speak. I feel lucky to be in this beautiful place with all of you to celebrate a wonderful human being, someone I know will be a wonderful president, and a remarkable college community. Thank you very much.
I've been involved with several search committees. Never once, ever, did we all, 22 of us, unite so quickly on a candidate.
Once he left the meeting, we all felt like, wow, like he's the one. I didn't felt like we had one argument on like why he couldn't be the president or why he didn't stand out.
In his interviews, you understood the dynamic and caring person that he was, humble and grounded in his personality.
I think that's the special person that Kevin is. Again, he brings all that strong background, business, academic, together with this interesting, humble, enjoyable personality.
As a fellow accountant, I do appreciate the foundation he has in accounting.
I'm an investment banking analyst. All financial students should be confident that we have a president that knows what he's doing and knows what the numbers are saying.
A number of years ago, I overheard Kevin speaking with a colleague about a race that they'd both be in over the weekend. And Kevin described the steep hill, the hardest part of the race, as his favorite. And that's how he approaches everything. The bigger the challenge, the more it excites him and the more he wants to try to find a resolution to it.
So I had the pleasure of serving as Kevin's dissertation chair here at UNH when he wrote his dissertation back in 2017 on the suburban sprawl south of Denver. So to put Kevin's commitment in perspective, he was working full-time in a very demanding job at Amherst College. He was studying for his Ph.D. at UNH, and for part of his dissertation work, he had to travel to the Denver suburbs while also being a great father and husband in his family. So the time commitment that he took to do this was really impressive.
Kevin and I didn't always agree. We often brought very different perspectives to an issue. When I felt like he was maybe going in a direction that I didn't feel was the best direction, I could go right to him and say that.
I think among humanity, that's kind of a rare trait, to accept criticism and see, well, how can I make this better?
So wants to do what's right, but not just what he thinks is right. He wants to do, I think, what's right for the community by hearing and listening. That's a leader.
So as the first student body president to work with him, I was very impressed with his student-centric approach. The first meeting he had on his first day at Marist was with students. It was with us, with student government, where we talked about what being a Marist student was like.
Faculty are really excited about the energy Kevin has brought to campus. He is involved, he listens, he is around. He's very excited about what we're doing, and he's always looking for ways to support us and find ways that we can strengthen the programs that we already have.
Kevin always shows up to the faculty plenary, and I love it because he shows up anonymous or incognito, like we don't see him. To the faculty's credit, they did not change their behavior in any capacity. Faculty are still faculty, and it has built this level of trust between our president and the faculty.
It was great to see him sitting there, listening and engaging with faculty in a way that made us understand he was making it a priority to hear the faculty voice.
Little things that I have seen him do over the year was his meetings with different alumni, traveling and meeting them in person.
I think he's a perfect fit for Marist. Marist is very community-oriented, and President Weinman would be at all community events. We started a game called Spot President Weinman, where we take pictures of him and just send it to a group chat saying, oh, I spotted President Weinman here.
So Kevin has this ability to be in multiple places at once. It's sort of like a Where's Waldo, except Waldo's everywhere. Does he have a striped hat, maybe?
He was everywhere. Like, this man had like 300 meetings in the first couple of months. I'm like, dude, chill out.
I think he should give himself a 30-minute lunch break or bike break or something and take a break, Kevin.
I just think that we're at the cusp of the next big uptick for Marist. And if you look at the last 50 years, we've come a long way. With this next 10, we could go just as far into the future with Kevin at the helm.
I think it's an exciting time for the school. It's an exciting time for Kevin to be president. I have lots of confidence in that.
Marist is in an amazing place, but we have more amazing places that we can go. And we're really excited about a transformation that we see coming.
He wants us to be one of the top ranked nationally and globally.
I'm very, very confident that President Weinman is the best leader for Marist, and I'm sure Marist is the right place for him.
I get messages from him about how much he loves being at Marist. I hope, Marist gives as much to him as he's going to give to Marist, because he's going to give you everything he's got. And I hope the community embraces that and knows what a gem that they have in Kevin.
Please welcome Brooke Weinman as she performs Yoruma's River Flows in You. Please welcome Beth Weinman to share some reflections.
Thank you, Brooke. That was amazing. We are so proud of you and Alex for being willing to take part in the ceremony today. Thank you, family, friends, colleagues, past and present, for being with us today. It is such an honor to be here, celebrating the inauguration of my husband, Kevin Weinman, as the 5th president of Marist College. I would like to share a couple of Kevin's qualities from our family life that I know will translate well into his new role here at Marist. Marist, you are getting someone who does not do anything halfway, who tries to be everywhere all the time, and who cares deeply for everyone he's around. For example, Kevin has always loved and prioritized attending as many of our kids' events as is humanly possible, and at times seemingly superhuman. While we both work busy day jobs, and he was somehow also completing his Ph.D., we were always there together, cheering our kids on, no matter which remote New England hockey rink or far-flung cycling race our kids happened to be competing in. So it's no surprise to me how much he loves being present with Marist students at their games and performances, and how he continues to balance being there for his family. I've seen Kevin attend one of Brooks' hockey games in Boston and then hustle back for a student performance in Poughkeepsie just hours later. And to fly to Colorado Springs to watch the Marist men's lacrosse team play Air Force, and then hurry over to catch Alex's club hockey game at Colorado College. Marist students, you will love his passion, energy, and interest in you. I'm sure many of you have already witnessed it already. Also, Kevin is a humble, down-to-earth, and approachable person. From what I've seen already, this makes Kevin and Marist a perfect match. I appreciate how warm, welcoming, and engaging you have all been to me and our entire family from our very first moments on campus. After just a few visits, Alex has already made good friends here at Marist, and Brooke has loved getting to interact with students, faculty, and staff while attending Marist events. We are proud to be a Red Fox family already. Once Brooke graduates from high school in Massachusetts this June, I cannot wait to be involved as part of this community on a daily basis myself. Finally, I just want to say how proud I am of you, Kevin. Your hard work, dedication, intelligence, and respectful treatment of everyone always has led to this day. I can assure you, Marist, that today, you're inaugurating a hardworking, curious, and forward-thinking leader with the utmost integrity, who will propel this college to new heights. I've known Kevin for over 28 years now. Throughout this time, he has always worked hard and dedicated himself to making the lives of those around him better. But I have never seen him so excited about an opportunity to make a difference as he is here at Marist. Thank you for celebrating today with us.
Please welcome Alex Weinman to share some additional reflections.
How you doing? So before writing my remarks, I asked my dad if it was okay if I shared some facts about him that the audience might not know. Unwisely, he didn't think about this too carefully because he just said, yeah, that'd be great. So here goes. First, he appears in the movie Rudy, which was filmed on the campus of Notre Dame during his senior year. I was first shown his glorious 2 seconds of screen time when I was 3 years old. And then pretty much every time I've lost control of the TV remote since then. Esteemed movie critic Beth Weinman describes his entrancing performance as extra number 147 as, quote, "oh boy, not this again." What I didn't realize, however, was that every time I watched Rudy being carried off the football field in the same stadium that I've enjoyed watching many games in with my dad, I was learning the importance of community and triumph in the face of adversity. So after the fame from his glamorous movie role fizzled out, my dad moved our family to where every failed actor goes to try and jumpstart their career. I'm talking, of course, about the woods of New Hampshire. When this plan didn't work, he settled for a finance position at a little-known school named Dartmouth College. It was in the small lake town of Grantham, near Hanover, that he introduced me to the game of golf. While he tried to teach me lessons about stance, grip, and follow-through, the most important lesson I learned for being on the golf course with him is this: stand far behind my dad when he's swinging a golf club. No one is safe when Kevin Weinman takes a swing. Yet, while I was groaning about missing my short par putt, my dad was smiling widely as his 8th or 9th shot finally trickled onto the green. His easygoing attitude always allows him to have more fun, regardless of the score, something I've taken away from the game of golf. Finally, as Mom said, he always loved going to my games, but there might have been other motivations too. At one tournament in Vermont when I was 8, he and Mom were responsible for bringing the beer to the parents' tailgate in the parking lot. There's already a lot wrong with that sentence, but just wait, it gets worse. When we arrived at the rink, Dad opened the trunk to realize that while he definitely remembered to bring the beer, he had left my bag of hockey equipment in the garage at home. So while the parents were enjoying themselves in the parking lot, I had to rent skates and beg my teammates for spare equipment. These memories are always fun to reminisce about, and they bring a good laugh. But they all share one important lesson in common. That is the importance of acknowledging and appreciating the people and moments in your life while they're still present. It's easy to make your way through childhood without being conscious of the privilege afforded to you during that time. I don't specifically mean financial or educational, though these things are certainly worth acknowledging. What I'm referring to is the privilege of having a parent who adequately challenges you, both intellectually and morally, in the pursuit of character development. It's only recently that, upon the reflection that comes with growing up, I've developed such a profound respect and appreciation for who my father is as a person. Moreover, I now cherish the opportunity that learning from his character afforded me to grow into what I can only hope is a person who makes him proud. There are certainly the grand moments and the comical ones that I've shared with you. But what most drives my appreciation for my childhood are the small things. It's every time in the car on the way to yet another hockey game when I'd ask a crazy question about space or an uninformed one about world events, and my dad would respond genuinely, wishing only that my character grew that much more for it. He has certainly accomplished a great deal of discernible feats in his lifetime, and many people, including a lot here today, are proud of him for it. But I truly believe that the most monumental of Kevin Weinman's accomplishments is the formative impact he's had on so many, myself included. That is the best thing he's bringing to Marist. Thank you.
President Weinman will now remove his earned regalia from the University of New Hampshire and be robed in the Marist presidential gown. Assisting with his robing are trustee and member of the class of 1978, Jim Honan, and trustee and member of the class of 1985, Maureen O'Rourke. The presidential gown is a doctoral robe designed by faculty members in Marist's fashion design program. The robe's primary color is the Marist red, framed by standard black panels adorned with an embroidered Marist M, a symbol which appears on both the Marist seal and the college's main gate. The hood features Marist red with a white chevron. The velvet sleeves are black, surrounded by white piping. The presidential gown contains 4 sleeve bars, as opposed to the 3 contained on a traditional doctoral robe. President Emeritus Dennis J. Murray will now assist Alex Weinman as he places the Marist Medallion, a symbol of presidential authority, around President Weinman's neck. The college's founding documents will now be placed in Kevin Weinman's hands, formally installing him as Marist's 5th president.
Kevin Weinman, we have placed over your shoulders the seal of the college, the symbol of the high office which you now hold. By virtue of the authority of Marist College and the Board of Trustees, I now commit you this charter of the college. Marist is an institution with both a rich history and a bright future. The board has chosen you to guide Marist through the next stage of its growth and development as we entrust the future of the college to your capable leadership. And now, I present to you the 5th president of Marist College, Kevin C. Weinman.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Wow, thank you so much. During all those speeches and videos, I sat here thinking, I'd really like to meet this person someday. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Ross, for your outstanding leadership of the Board of Trustees. My thanks to the rest of the board as well for the confidence that you showed in me by giving me this opportunity of a lifetime. I'm also blown away by your unanimous support of the Presidential Fund for Equity and the Marist experience. It's really touching that you're as eager to support Marist students as I am. President Emeritus Dennis Murray, your vision and leadership for nearly 40 years transformed Marist into the remarkable college that it is today and positions us well for the future. Thank you for your generous counsel to me in these early days. I know I can count on you for more support in the future. Biddy, I am so touched. Everything I learned about this job, I learned from you. There might even be a little plagiarism in this speech. Thank you for being such an inspiring mentor, leader, and friend. Thanks to each of the delegates from so many institutions here today. I really appreciate your presence. Especially representatives from each of my degree-granting institutions. Special thanks to University of New Hampshire history professor Kirk Dorsey, my dissertation advisor, who you just saw in one of the videos. Kirk, I'm not sure where you are. The patience you afforded me was never warranted, but always granted. I'm grateful to the members of the Inauguration Committee for planning these events to showcase the vibrant Marist community. Thank you to the faculty and students who served on panels and shared your research this morning. Finally, to the hundreds of amazing staff here at Marist who worked to make this event a reality, I offer my deepest thanks. Just like every day, you've gone above and beyond in the service of Marist College. Brother John Klein, thank you for your moving invocation and for your service to our community. I also want to take a moment to remember our beloved Sean Salmon, your fellow board member, Marist graduate, and Marist brother. Sean sadly passed away exactly 2 weeks ago today. No one embodied the ideals of Marist College more than Brother Sean, and I know he would have loved to have been here today. Thank you, Nick, Eileen, and Gabe, for your remarks and for representing our faculty, alumni, and students today. Thanks also to the Marist singers and the Marist band for your fantastic performances, as always. To my friends and former colleagues alike from Greater Hanover, New Hampshire, and Amherst, Massachusetts, please behave yourselves today. I'm touched that you are here to spend the special day with Beth and me. To the many finance and administrative professionals from other colleges, we formed such a vibrant network for idea exchange, also for important forms of professional therapy, especially as we steered our respective schools through the pandemic. I'm proud to call you friends. To Marist students, you are why I am here. You inspire me each and every day. It will be my never-ending mission to help you get the most of your Marist experience. To our nearly 50,000 alumni, once a Red Fox, always a Red Fox. You've already told me how much you loved your Marist experience, how deep your passions run for this place, and how high your hopes are for Marist's future. I am up for this task. Together, let's build upon all that Marist has accomplished and do all we can to meet its full potential. Now to my family. I first want to say thanks to my parents, Joe and Dolores. My dad is watching from his home in South Carolina as a health issue precluded his travel here today. My mom sadly passed away far too soon 8 years ago. From humble beginnings, they built a great life together over 44 years of marriage and provided my siblings and I a world of opportunity. I am forever grateful to you. To my twin sister, Karen, thank you for being with me, literally every step of the way. Yes, for those who are wondering, we are named Karen and Kevin, and Karen, there's more, Karen is also spelled with an I, because that's what parents do to twins. On another note, I think part of the reason I'm so committed to shared governance is that I only experienced being alone for the first 12 minutes of my life. To my younger brother, Keith, yes, another K for those of you scoring at home, who is watching today with his family from Longmont, Colorado, thank you for your love and support. I'm grateful to be surrounded by other family members here today who have deep roots in the area. My dad's brother, Len, was a lifelong IBMer, and he and my Aunt Jane live in Fishkill. My mom's late brother, Jack, was a New York State trooper. My Aunt Jenna still lives in Red Hook, in the same Red Hook home they shared together for over 50 years. Along with my own roots in Queens, Long Island, and northern New Jersey, I have felt that arriving at Marist College in the Hudson Valley has been a homecoming of a sort for me. Most of all, thank you, Beth, Alex, and Brooke. This job places immense and unfair burdens on each of you. Through it all, your support for me is generous and unwavering. However, sometimes that support manifests in unique ways. For example, some of you know Alex often heckles me in the comments section of my official Marist Instagram posts. And as you know now, he is just as adept at verbal takedowns of his dad at inauguration ceremonies. As a parent of a college-age son, I longed long ago to interpret this as a sign of affection, whether it's true or not. Brooke, thank you for that amazing piano solo and for sharing your talents with more than just Mom, me, and our dog, Abby. Beth, my last words of love and affection are for you. We're having quite an adventure together. You've always said yes to my crazy ideas, even when logic suggested that you should say no, or at least maybe we should think this one through a little more. Our major transitions have never been easy, but the rewards have been immense. Sharing the stage of life with you is my greatest honor. My lifelong love for higher education got off to a rocky start. On December 5th, 1988, I received a letter from the admissions office at the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, my dream school. I have this letter here today, and I'd like to read a little of it to you. It is our unpleasant task to deny many fine young people admission. I immediately knew, of course, that I was one of those fine young people who was not getting into UNC today. Not satisfied at this, the letter quickly dashed any hopes of appeal. Based on our experience, we believe even with strong improvement, your record still will not be competitive for admission. However, there also is this curious line. It is particularly unpleasant for us to do this in your case, since you have family ties with the university. A ray of hope set in. I don't have ties to UNC. My parents never went to college, neither did their parents. I didn't even know any Tar Heels. Maybe this was a mistake. I ran to the rotary dial telephone in our kitchen. The admissions officer who answered the phone politely heard me out and then shuffled away for a bit, perhaps in a manner that a car salesperson might go to speak with their manager in the other room. She returned and uttered the following. Yes, we did send you the wrong letter. However, you still didn't get in. There was an awkward silence, perhaps not unlike this one. Then she asked, would you like us to mail you the correct rejection letter? Thankfully, I landed square on my feet at Notre Dame. However, like many first-year college students, I got off to a tough start. I felt an acute sense of not belonging. I came to Notre Dame from the tiny town of Kinnelon, New Jersey. How tiny was Kinnelon? At Kinnelon High School, my sister was senior class president and I was senior class vice president. In truth, I wanted to be president, but Lee Mirengoff and the Marist poll determined correctly that if I ran against Karen, I would lose in a landslide. So being a big fish in a small pond was well in the rearview mirror now. I was on a campus of 10,000 amazing students where I was vice president of nothing. I thought seriously about transferring. Then two things happened that led me to love my Notre Dame experience. First, I formed amazing lifelong friendships, including with Bill Keene and Tom Hitzelberger. I'm thrilled that both are here today. Next, I found history, choosing it as my second major alongside accounting. Discovering a traditional liberal arts discipline opened my eyes to a new world of wonder. I grew as a person and as a scholar in ways I never imagined. In doing so, I drew upon the same lessons that Marist College students learn from our amazing faculty and dedicated support staff. Demonstrate grit and resilience. Discover a love for learning. Explore the curriculum. Develop critical thinking skills. Write until your hand hurts. Build community. Form lifelong friendships. Get involved. Embrace diversity in all its forms. Blending the liberal arts with the pre-professional set me up for a wild ride, a career that began in public accounting and now has me with the immense task and honor of leading a highly selective institution of higher education. As you know, there's much debate about the continuing value of the liberal arts compared to a form of education that focuses on professional training. I don't understand this. In fact, I see no debate here at all. For one, I believe deeply not only in the enduring value of the liberal arts, but also its necessity. No one has articulated this more clearly than Bill Cronin. Cronin is a preeminent environmental historian whose work has heavily influenced my own scholarly interests and research. He also wrote a short essay titled "Only Connect: The Goals of a Liberal Education." First, he clarifies that a liberal education has nothing to do with political liberalism or the ideology of the left. Rather, a liberal education is one that, quote, nurtures growth of human talent in the service of freedom. To illustrate, the Latin word liber means freedom, and we all know what liberate means. Cronin writes that liberally educated people aren't so because they took certain classes. They possess traits like these. They listen and they hear. They read and they understand. They can talk with anyone. They can write clearly and persuasively and movingly. They can solve a wide variety of problems. They can practice humility, tolerance, and self-criticism. They understand how things get done in the world. They nurture and empower the people around them. Can you imagine anyone in any discipline succeeding without these traits? Conversely, can you imagine the enormous potential for success for someone with these traits? Cronin notes that a liberal education allows people to connect. More than anything else, he says, being an educated person means being able to see connections that allow one to make sense of the world and act within it in creative ways. His focus on connection is both brilliant and instructive. Connecting allows us to solve problems that span narrow concerns. Think about it. Every major problem our society faces requires connection with others, cultural connections, and connection across disciplines. Structural racism, climate change, a global pandemic, poverty, global conflict, threats to democracy. Scientists and humanists must work together to address these challenges. Even better is a world where each scientist is also a humanist, and each humanist a scientist. Furthermore, the debate between the relative merits of a liberal arts education versus professional education presumes that we must choose one or the other. We don't. Not only can they coexist, they are mutually reinforcing. This is especially true at Marist College. Here we aspire to be and, not or. Our students explore every corner of our broad and diverse curriculum, while remaining keenly focused on preparing themselves for meaningful careers. Our students blend coursework, research, and experiential learning across the schools of science, communications and the arts, management, social and behavioral sciences, computer science and mathematics, and of course, liberal arts. Our students routinely mash together eclectic combinations of majors and minors, seeking the forms of connection espoused by Cronin. For example, our former student body president, Tenzin Sundu, who you saw in one of the videos, majored in both finance and philosophy. He often quipped that he will now spend his career trying to make a lot of money while simultaneously convincing himself that money is not the key to happiness. That said, competition for talented students is intense and intensifying. Questions about the value of higher education abound. As a result, complacency is not a strategy. As important as a continuing commitment to the liberal arts is, we also need to do two things to succeed as we move forward. First, innovate and innovate relentlessly. And second, make Marist's form of education available and accessible to any student who has the talent and the drive to succeed here. On the first point, thankfully, innovation is in Marist's DNA. We have consistently launched new successful undergraduate and graduate programs to meet the emerging needs of a shifting society. You can see this in our 34-year partnership with IBM, which was well ahead of its time at inception and continues to make Marist one of the nation's most technologically advanced colleges. Today, majors in cybersecurity, computer science, data science and analytics, and games and emerging media are in high demand. And master's degree programs in information systems and computer science and software development attract students from around the globe. Although my daily choice of attire might belie this fact, Marist has a world-renowned fashion program. For a college rooted in the liberal arts, this is an innovation in and of itself. Yet this amazing program is full of other forms of innovation in merchandising, product development, retailing, operations, and sustainability. Innovation gave birth to our 4-year bachelor's degree program at our branch campus in Florence, Italy, which I visited not once but twice already. It also infuses our freshman Florence and freshman Dublin experience programs, where about 4% of our new students choose to study their entire first year in these cities that are both cosmopolitan and steeped in history. We are proud that these distinctive programs just won a national award for their uniqueness in campus internationalization. A spirit of innovation led Marist to create a fully online MBA program, the first of its kind in New York State, and our Master's in Public Administration program, which has been recognized as among the nation's best. In addition, we recently launched successful programs that address the growing demand for allied health professionals, such as the Physician Assistant Master's degree and the Doctor of Physical Therapy degree, Marist's first doctoral program. From its earliest days, Marist has always embraced adult and commuter students. We meet people where they are in their complicated lives. As someone who has worked full-time while pursuing degrees and who has taught non-traditional students, I know how important it is to welcome these students into the classroom and how much richer the learning environment is when they are here. Marist long ago embraced a form of Division I athletics and a vision for student athletes that emphasizes both the student and the athlete. Our amazing coaches, athletics administrators, and our student athletes would not have it any other way. The results speak wonders. Marist has led its conference in academic honor roll selections for a truly unbelievable 21 straight years. Our student athletes also excel on the playing field. Marist has won 117 championships in the history of our conference, 26 more than the next closest school. So once again, at Marist, we aim for and, not or. As we are innovating and improving, we are also opening our campus to an ever more diverse and talented group of students. We are a proud participant in the American Talent Initiative, a group of schools committed to enrolling increasing numbers of students from income levels that make them eligible for federal Pell grants. For too many high school students with high potential, the students who would benefit immensely from a college experience, higher education remains out of reach. We must continue to focus on making a Marist education accessible to every student who can succeed here. This is at the core of our mission. That said, it's not simply enough to admit and enroll talented students. Every student must feel a sense of belonging, that Marist is their college. Each student must have equitable access to the same experiences as their classmates, free of the financial and social barriers that too often exist on college campuses today. I won't rest until we achieve this important goal. As a historian, let me balance this discussion of our future by reaching into our past. We are here today on this beautiful campus because of the Marist brothers' belief in the power of education and its ability to change lives for the better. They designed and built many buildings here on campus, often carrying the stones with their own hands. The spirit of humility, of doing good quietly, continues to define this college. We have evolved dramatically since our founding into a vibrant, independent, and secular college. Yet at 93 years old, we remain a young institution, competing with revered colleges that have been around for centuries. Rather than see our age as a weakness, I view it as a tremendous strength. We have learned to be scrappy and entrepreneurial, to embrace tradition while avoiding its constrictions, and to dream of a bright and bold future. Even as we celebrate the Marist of 2022 here today, I am already looking forward to our centennial in 2029. My dream includes both an epic celebration of the conclusion of a remarkable first century and a launch pad for an even more amazing second century. Let me conclude here by talking about one of our most stunning features, the captivating river that you see over my shoulder. As someone who has studied history through an environmental lens, this river endlessly fascinates me. Let's first be clear, it has only recently been known as the Hudson. The Mohican indigenous peoples, whose ancestral lands we stand upon today, called it Mehicantuck, which means river that flows two ways. This is because it's not a typical river. Rather, it's a tidal estuary, a blend of saltwater and freshwater, one that flows in all directions at different times in response to the tides. As a result, it supports incredible biodiversity and contributes to the vibrancy of life in the region. It also can drum up quite a windstorm. In this way, the river mirrors the human diversity and richness of Marist College, Poughkeepsie, and the Hudson Valley. We love the river here at Marist, not because it's beautiful, not just because it's beautiful, but also because it represents our values, our community, and our aspirations. I tell Marist students all the time, their lives are going to be complicated. Things will never flow in just one direction. Like this stunning river, the cross currents they face will be relentless and unpredictable. Their Marist education equips them to succeed no matter what comes their way. There will be times to stick to a plan and fight through the current to get to where they want to be. Our crew team, for example, has to get to the finish line no matter what, rowing through whatever this river throws at them. This forges strength and character and gives them a leg up on other crew teams who train on simple rivers that only flow in one direction. Some even get to row on lakes. How boring and easy is that? However, there will be times when patience is called for, when fighting the current is not the best option. Marist students have the wisdom and the confidence in their education to know when to let the current take them where it will. Opportunities often present themselves in unexpected ways. Those who are willing to take risks, embrace new challenges, and bet on themselves will be best positioned to succeed. In the spirit of letting the current take you where it will, it's worth noting that sometimes accountants are lucky enough to become college presidents. As you know now, Marist is an institution rich in history and well-positioned to thrive in the years ahead. Our mission, excellence in education, a sense of community, and a commitment to service is perfectly aligned to meet the needs of the current moment. It's what compels top faculty and staff to want to work here, talented students to want to learn here, and alumni to return home here again and again. The future for Marist College is bright. I could not be more honored and humbled to serve as Marist's president. We are going to do great things together. Thank you for being here today and for celebrating Marist College with me.
Please rise for the college's alma mater. Please rise for the college's alma mater, the Marist Song, composed by the late professor of chemistry, Richard LaPietra, which will now be performed by members of the Marist College Singers and the Marist College Band.